Scientists are warning of dramatic changes at one of the biggest glaciers in Antarctica in the next 5 to 10 years.
Russian researchers have uncovered a shocking discovery deep in the bowels of Lake Vostok, the largest subglacial lake in Antarctica. This discovery might just be the evidence we need to confirm the possibility of life in other harsh environments like Jupiter and Saturn. What is this mind-blowing discovery that has got the international scientific community beaming with excitement? How is it connected to the possibility of life on other planets? Join us in this video as we explore Russia's terrifying discovery in Antarctica that has shocked the entire world. Unlike other continents, Antarctica has a very small population. It's the least populated continent on our planet. However, what has made it famous is not its small population, but its geographic features. This southernmost continent of the Earth is covered mostly by ice sheets. We are talking about frozen layers of ice here. If you have watched the Hollywood film Frozen, you would have a picture of what it means to live in Antarctica. We have ice layers extending throughout the 14,200,000 square kilometers of the continent, and these ice sheets have an average thickness of 1.9 kilometers. Don't be shocked that this coldest, driest, and windiest region of the Earth is the fifth largest continent on our planet. It is about 40% larger than Europe. This tells you how vast this polar desert is. Known to have the highest average elevation, Antarctica has about 70% of the world's fresh water frozen across the continent. If these ice shelves were ever to melt, the global sea levels would be raised by almost 60 meters. That would be very catastrophic for our planet, as it would lead to many disasters that can cause loss of lives and properties. Thinking about this alone is heart-wrenching. So let's hope that the ice shelves never melt. Since we are speaking about ice shelves, you should know that the geographic structures were first seen in 1820 during a Russian expedition led by Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen and Mikhail Lazarev. These two Russian explorers paved the way for future exploration by French, American, and British expeditions. In a twist of fate, centuries later, Russian scientists will uncover shocking discoveries about the continent. For instance, towards the end of the 19th century, Russian scientist Peter A. Kropotkin was the first to propose liquid water underneath the Antarctic ice sheet. Kropotkin believed that geothermal heating at the bottom of the ice sheets could cause the temperature beneath the ice to reach the ice melt temperature, which could be below zero. This notion didn't end with Kropotkin, as another Russian scientist, Igor A. Zotakov, supported it. Zotakov, a glaciologist, demonstrated via theoretical analysis that there was a possibility of a decrease in Antarctic ice because the ice melted at a lower surface. Emerging discoveries later attested to the fact that the Russian scientists were indeed correct. There are subglacial lakes found on the continent. A subglacial lake is a lake that is found under a glacier, usually beneath an ice cap or ice sheet. So far, there have been 400 subglacial lakes discovered in Antarctica, and there are enough signs that there is still more out there. Lake Vostok stands out in Antarctica because it is the largest of the 400 known subglacial lakes on the continent. But this is not the only distinct feature that sets this lake apart. It is the 6th largest lake by volume and the 16th by surface area. This shouldn't be a surprise because Lake Vostok is 250 kilometers long and 30 kilometers wide at its widest point. More so, the lake covers 12,500 square kilometers. The depth of this subglacial lake is profound, as it extends over 432 meters. The lake's capacity is beyond what we normally see and is at an estimated volume of 5,400 cubic kilometers. Lake Vostok's vastness is divided into two deep basins by a ridge. The ridge separated the lake into a northern and southern region. The liquid water depth over the ridge is about 200 meters, which is small compared to the 400 meters in the northern basin. The southern basin has the highest depth at 800 meters. Sitting on top of the lake is Russia's Vostok Station, which the lake is named after. Vostok Station is a research station located in the inland Princess Elizabeth Land area of Antarctica. Founded in 1957 by the Soviet Union, the station employs ice core drilling and magnetometry to research the continent. The station has been pivotal to some research successes relating to Lake Vostok. To understand how Lake Vostok came into existence, we must go back to 160 million years ago when Africa separated from Antarctica. You heard correctly, Africa and Antarctica were once together as a single continent before they were divided by geological events. At some point, Antarctica was joined to the Indian subcontinent. However, they parted ways in the early Cretaceous about 125 million years ago. About 66 million years ago, Antarctica, which was then connected to Australia, still had a tropical and subtropical climate. This also includes marsupial fauna and an extensive rainforest. It was during this period that Lake Vostok was formed. One of the distinct traits of Lake Vostok is that its water rests on a bed of sediments 70 meters thick. This thickness proves the lake can be likened to a long-lost historical library. The thickness also tells us that the lake holds a unique record of the climate and life in Antarctica before the ice cap formed. Now you understand why scientists are so hyped about this subglacial lake. Researchers have been quite successful in their investigations of the lake and have come up with some shocking revelations. From their findings, the lake water is estimated to have been sealed off under its current thick ice sheet about 15 million years ago. That's a very long time. About the same period, many animals disappeared off the surface of the Earth. In the beginning, scientists thought that the same water had made up the lake since its formation, giving its residence time in the order of 1 million years ago. They soon found out that they were wrong. We owe this shift in scientific thinking to further investigations by other researchers such as Robin Bell and Michael Studinger. Bell and Studinger, researchers at the Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory of Columbia University, postulated that the lake's water is continually freezing and being carried away by the movement of the Antarctic ice sheet. Here's where this geological activity becomes more exciting. The water is being replaced by water melting from other parts of the ice sheet in very high-pressure conditions. The entire process looks mythical, and it would be a once-in-a-lifetime experience to see it happen live. The scientific inference from this activity is that the entire volume of the lake is replaced every 13,300 years, which happens to be its effective mean residence time. Another scientific discovery from the observations of Lake Vostok is that the subglacial body is an oligotrophic extreme environment. In layman's terms, Lake Vostok is an environment that offers little to sustain life, joining the likes of deep oceanic sediments, caves, polar ice, ocean waters, leached soils, and aquifers. If you doubted Lake Vostok's special status for a moment, this discovery should change your mind. A deep dive into the lake, and scientists say we should expect to see a water body supersaturated with nitrogen and oxygen. They came to this conclusion from their exploration of the subglacial lake. It was found that nitrogen and oxygen measure up to 2.5 liters per 1 kilogram of water. This is shocking, because it is 50 times higher than that typically found in freshwater lakes on the Earth's surface. This discovery shocked scientists because they couldn't explain why the lake had such high gas concentration. However, it didn't take long before they got their answer. The high gas concentration inside the lake can be traced to the immense weight and pressure around the 345 bars of the continental ice cap. More so, oxygen and other gases are not only dissolved in the water, but are also trapped in a cage-like structure called clathrate. Clathrate structures are gases enclosed in an icy cage and resemble packed snow. These structures are formed at high-pressure depths of Lake Vostok. If the structures were to be brought to the surface, they would become unstable. The investigations on Lake Vostok took a different turn in April 2005, when Russian scientists working alongside Japanese and German researchers discovered that the lake has tides. Their findings showed that depending on the position of the sun and the moon, the surface of the lake rises about 12 millimeters. Guess what? Lake Vostok is thrown into complete darkness when under 355 bars of pressure and is expected to be rich in oxygen. This means that the organisms in the lake could have evolved in a manner that is distinct from this environment. The inhabiting organisms most likely adapted to their new environment as they stayed locked in for millions of years. If you move towards the east coast of the lake, you will find a 1 microtesla magnetic anomaly, that extends by 105 by 75 kilometers. Scientists believe that the anomaly may be caused by a thinning of the Earth's crust in that location. To cap it all, living hydrogenophilous thermoluteolus microorganisms have been discovered in the lake's deep ice core drillings. These microorganisms are an extant surface-dwelling species. Their discovery proves that there may be a deep biosphere that uses a geothermal system of the bedrock that encompasses the subglacial lake. If there is one place science has fully fledged its wings, then it is Lake Vostok. The subglacial lake has been the site of many groundbreaking discoveries over the years. One discovery that has been a source of pride for the scientific community is the 1999 discovery of exotic microbes near the lake. The hearts of researchers leaped for joy when they unearthed a microbial world hidden in the lake's depths in December 1999. The findings are documented in a paper co-authored by Dr. Chris McKay, a planetary research scientist at NASA's Ames Research Center in Moffett Field, California. McKay is joined by other researchers who make up the multidisciplinary science team that got the groundbreaking discovery published in the December issue of the Science magazine. It all began in 1993, when the researchers used altimetric and radar data to trace an outline of Lake Vostok, located about 1,000 miles from the South Pole. The scientists tested samples from the ice 3,590 meters below the Vostok station, and to their surprise, they found diverse colonies of microbes. If it had been just a few similar colonies, they wouldn't have been that amazed. So imagine their reaction when they saw various kinds of colonies in the samples obtained from the ice. This marked a breakthrough in exploring the lake, helping to demystify many unknowns about what goes underneath the depths of ice in Antarctica. Scientists say this is because the lake has been isolated from the usual sources of atmospheric-derived energy, such as photosynthesis, for millions of years. They believe the ice is a good environment for primitive bacteria, and that the bacteria need less food because the surroundings are cold. Also, the metabolism is reduced like that of a hibernating bear. Another finding from the study of the DNA data extracted from the microbes is that there is only a few known bacteria subgroups. The most important question that has bothered scientists for years is, how do the bacteria get energy to survive? Don't you think it's worth knowing? How can these organisms stay alive for years in such an environment? A possible answer could be that they have adapted to that environment. While this is true, we are merely scratching the surface. The bigger fish to fry is, what makes them able to adapt to such an environment in the first place? The search for these answers has led scientists to keep investigating the lake. A terrifying discovery from Lake Vostok that shook the scientific community is the 2013 unearthing of unique DNA sequences from the lake. The facts derived from this investigation continue to shock scientists till today. They didn't expect to come across such spine-chilling scientific discovery in the depths of Lake Vostok. For a long time, many scientists had believed that the subglacial cannot host any form of living organisms. And when you look at it, it wasn't wrong to hold such beliefs then. This is because the available evidence indicated that Lake Vostok was inhospitable. This highly esteemed scientific opinion came crashing down after digging out coarse sections from deep layers of the ice and studying them. These layers were removed from ice accumulated from lake water that froze onto the bottom of the glacier where it meets the lake. The unearthed ice sections were as clear as diamonds and formed at the great pressure and relatively warm temperatures found at that depth. Scientists took sample cores from two areas of the lake, the southern main basin and near an embayment on the southwestern end of the lake. Since we are speaking of scientists, you should know that Dr. Scott Rogers of Bowling Green State University led the team. Rogers is the senior author of a paper that reports the findings in PLOS One journal. The scientific team found more than 3,000 known bacteria, including the ones found in the digestive systems of fish, crustaceans, and annelid worms. They also identified fungi and 2 species of archaea, single-celled organisms that tend to live in extreme environments. The search didn't produce only this because the team also discovered other species associated with habitats of lake or ocean sediments. In addition, the scientists were pleased to find psychrophiles, organisms living in extreme cold, and heat-loving thermophiles. The presence of these thermophiles means that there could be hydrothermal vents sitting deep in the lake. This was the highlight of the discovery for scientists. It means we could have a volcanic explosion from within the depths of Lake Vostok. The last time we had a very high-magnitude subglacial eruption in Antarctica was 2,200 years ago. After the volcano erupted from under the ice sheets of the continent, the volcanic ash was deposited on the ice surface under the Hudson Mountains, close to Pine Island Glacier. If another high-magnitude subglacial eruption was to occur today, it would cause great floods of water that we will be unprepared for. The memory of the November 1986 disaster is still fresh in the minds of many in the scientific community. The Grimsvötn volcano had erupted, causing great floods of water that affected more than 750 square kilometers and destroyed several bridges. If the Lake Vostok, which has an estimated volume capacity of 5,400 cubic kilometers, were to erupt, the disaster is unimaginable. We are just one wrong move away from experiencing this catastrophic event. Let's hope that day never comes. Dr. Rogers revealed that the team found much more complexity than they had envisaged. They never thought they would discover such complex life deep inside the subglacial lake. The discovery is a testament to the tenacity of life and how organisms can survive in places deemed impossible. Furthermore, Rogers stated that the presence of marine and freshwater species validates the hypothesis that Lake Vostok was once connected to the ocean, and that the freshwater was deposited in the lake by the overriding glacier. Another reason for the scientists' surprise is that many of the species that were discovered inside Lake Vostok are what you would see in a regular freshwater lake. Most organisms appear to belong to freshwater bodies, and many species usually live in oceans or lake sediments. This discovery suggests much biological activity near the embayment because the largest species was found there. Also, they found many other unidentified species, hinting at the possibility that the new organisms were created while they were trapped inside the lake. Before the 2013 study was made known to the scientific community and the rest of the world, another spectacular discovery had been made the year before. The project's success was confirmed by the head of Russia's Arctic and Antarctic Research Institute. In 2012, Russia was the center of attraction for many months because its scientists finally hit Lake Vostok after a 20-year drilling period. The drilling project began 2 decades ago and ended after the Russian scientists made it through nearly 4 kilometers of ice to land at the subglacial lake. As soon as the drill reached the lake over 12,000 feet below, the water, under great pressure from the ice above it, shot up the borehole and froze. According to the Russians, this kept the chemicals used in the drilling process from the lake. At that time, they could not perform any notable findings on the discovery, so they decided to return during the Antarctic summer to retrieve the sample of the frozen lake water. Another reason they quickly left their research station was to avoid the increasingly harsh polar conditions. True to their word, the Russians returned to take samples of the ice sections of the lake, and they got the shock of their lives. They found something alive beneath the ice sheets of Antarctica. However, the dilemma was that they didn't know what it was. The water sample exposed a mysterious bacterium that we didn't know about. This bacteria is called mysterious because it doesn't belong to any known bacterial group. The scientists' challenge was proving whether the bacteria was a new form of life or not. As interesting as this discovery sounds, the Russians didn't have it easy. Controversy arose because the Russians' borehole was filled with lubricating kerosene, which raised many concerns about the validity of the discovery. Kerosene typically contains bacteria, and there were concerns that the lake might be contaminated. However, there is no cause for alarm because the scientific team avoided this problem. Here's how it all happened. When the drill hit the lake, it immediately withdrew in response to the pressure change. Thus, lake water gushed into the borehole, pushing the kerosene up the hole before freezing. Sergei Bulat of the Petersburg Nuclear Physics Institute in Gachina defended the finding. It was Bulat who made it known that the water from the lake contained a bacterium whose DNA was less than 86% similar to DNA from known bacterial species. Bulat argued this at an international scientific meeting in Moscow on March 6, 2013. Boulat made it clear that the genetic analysis revealed that 3 variants of the bacterium could not be assigned to bacterial lineages described in global databases. You can imagine the look of dismay on Boulat's face when he performed test after test to confirm the bacterium's status. Yet he couldn't find a match with the existing known species. What's more intriguing is that researchers have been unable to determine the mysterious microbe's physiology and biochemistry. Also, they do not know how it could extract energy from Lake Vostok's very dark and nutrient-poor environment. If scientists want to solve this puzzle, then they will have to carry out more sophisticated tests, including genome sequencing. It would be long before scientists sheathe their swords in exploring Lake Vostok. Various investigations are underway on the lake, hoping to unearth another groundbreaking discovery that would put smiles on scientists' faces. One of the current plans is to send a robotic submersible object into the lake to explore the lake remotely. Using the robotic equipment, scientists hope to see what is happening in the lake's depths and possibly uncover more life inside the subglacial body. Who knows? They might discover another species unknown to humans. According to McKay, the discovery of the microbes within the liquid habitat helps shed light on the viability of life in harsh environments beyond the Earth, such as in the frozen ocean subsurface on Jupiter's moon, Europa. McKay is not the only scientist in this school of thought. Other researchers also believe that unlocking the mysteries of the life form found in Lake Vostok is the gateway to getting deeper knowledge about the extraterrestrial. Since the conditions in Lake Vostok are similar to the ocean-world moons of Jupiter and Saturn, there is a high possibility that life can be sustained on those planets. From the look of things, it's only a matter of time before we confirm this to be true. Thanks for watching this Voyager video till the end. For more intriguing discovery videos like this, click the next video on the screen.